the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California won the big game.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnham.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vane, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
And good morning. I hope everybody's doing okay here on a Thursday, wherever you might be. Coming up today at 6:45, Brian Seigla will join us from the Boundary Corner podcast. Andy Bitter at 7-ish from Tech Sideline. And then Dwight Vick at 8 o'clock as we get back into football tonight. NC State and Wake Forest gets underway at 7:30. And, of course, National Football League, the Commanders and the Packers. I don't feel like I can just jump on today and start talking about sports. I feel like something has to kind of be addressed, and I think we all know what it is. It was what occurred yesterday in Utah, and we had a murder of a political pundit who also had a radio show. And this isn't about trying to make this a political discussion, but I want to hear from you because this supersedes anything that I think people hold true and dear to your values and your beliefs, whether you're on the left, whether you're on the right, whether you're in the center, which I kind of feel like that's where I find myself more and more, maybe lean a little more to one side. But yesterday was a disgusting exhibition as to what, unfortunately, we've become in this country. And to see so many people who disagreed. I never listened to the Charlie Kirk show. I know it was on here locally on WRD. I never listened to it. I know he was a guy that went around and debated politically, people who disagreed with him. That's why he was at this school in Utah, having open debate. If people disagree with you, instead of trying to admonish them and say they're not worth living or they're not good people, that's not the way to go about it. That's why, to a lesser degree here on this program over the years, 15 years, and now what I hope we're doing here. By the way, this marks a month that we've been back. We started August the 11th. So thank you for that. Not the way I wanted to come on and start this program. But for it to have happened so relatively easily, the footage is god-awfully disturbing. And all I'm seeing is all these reports, watching certain television networks celebrating this man being slayed. He left behind a wife and children. Should it matter what side politically he was on? Would it matter if he were on the other side? No, it should be about the what. And to see and read how so many people, if you go to X, you see it. They're showing examples that are on some of these networks, how they have FCC licenses. I don't know. A lot of people have been fired today. Universities all over the country are firing people because they went on social media celebrating what happened. How did we get to this point to where we're so separated in this country? It's very disturbing. And you think about it. I mean, this is just going to be accepted now? What if, to a lesser degree, but what if I'm out doing the show somewhere and we're having a T-shirt sale and we're meeting people and, somebody just decides they don't like something I said about tech football? I mean, we just going to live in a society where this is acceptable? This is how you treat people you don't agree with? Aren't you supposed to open debate and value all opinions? Pat McAfee said it best, and then I'll move forward. But he said this, and I'm going to read his tweet verbatim. I did retweet it, and he liked what I said about it. But he said this, and this is Pat McAfee from the Pat McAfee Show on ESPN. He said, Charlie Kirk, a name synonymous with having the courage to speak what you believe and seek and welcome conversations with those whom you disagree with. He says, I'm not a political person. Neither am I. But I am proud. I am a proud American citizen. Today was startling, saddening, and maddening all at the same time. I realize that I'm a bit naive to how crazy it all has become. Me too. But watching a man get hunted and slayed in broad daylight because of his opinions made me disgusted and devastated. 100%. This can't be what we actually are become as a country. I believe that good people always outnumber the evil people. But damn, he says, today was an alarming day in our country's history. 2 kids lost a dad, a wife lost a husband, and societal disclosure lost a voice. And he says, rest in peace, Charlie Kirk, sends prayers, thoughts, and love to his family. Yeah, that's well said. That's well said. It's not going to be covered like that by certain media outlets. It's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable, the things that you're watching when you just go to X and you see what people are reposting, what people are actually going on there and saying about this, celebrating this. And maybe I have been naive. I never thought we would get to this point of our existence in the United States of America, this kind of discourse, civil war, if you will. So thank you, Pat McAfee. You said it a lot better than I could have. And I hope they address it on game day. I don't know if Disney's going to let them. But anyway, I just felt like I couldn't come on. I try not to drag politics into this. So my apologies. It's not really politics. This is human decency. This is different than politics. This was an assassination. And it shouldn't matter what side Charlie Kirk represented. It shouldn't matter. That's okay for so many people to look at this and celebrate. People are posting videos from all these other social medias and people are celebrating. And if you're that person, I don't know what to tell you. That we've allowed politics to make us this jaded. And I mean us, all of us in this country. I don't understand. It hadn't been that long ago. By the way, today, ironically, we're talking about this. What is today, everybody? Huh? 9/11. 9/11. 2001. 24 years ago. This country was as united as I can remember it ever being in my lifetime. Nobody gave a damn whether you're on the left. Nobody gave a damn whether you're on the right. Nobody cared about how you voted. You would go, hey, did you go vote? Yeah, like, you ready to go eat? Go eat some lunch. And here we are 24 years later, and during my lifetime, I've never seen this country so split apart. And it's never going to get back together. Besides, don't want to get back together. But you think about it, today we should be remembering. We should be paying homage to that immense tragedy that this country absorbed. the families, the victims, the first responders who lost their life. You think they gave a damn about whether somebody's politics agreed with theirs or not? And now here we are, 9/11, and this thing has happened. And what happened yesterday is going to change this country forever. I don't know whether it's going to be for good or for bad, but it's going to be forever. It's never going to recover from this. It's never going to just get back to, oh, that happened, let's move on. Just like 9/11 changed this, and I thought it was going to change this for the good, and it did for a while. Because you remember, in sports is what helped bring it back. Sports is what helped us all kind of heal very quickly. Imagine today. So George Bush was the president, Republican president. He went out and he threw that first pitch at Yankee Stadium. He threw the ball right in there, right? And everybody celebrated what that represented, that we weren't going away as a country. We're going to unite. We were going to fight back. You'll see it. I'm sure you'll see it today. 24 years ago, we couldn't have been more united. And now now here we are today. We couldn't be more split apart. But in any event, this is what's wonderful in the proper context about sports and theory, right? When you show up at Lane Stadium on Saturday night, all of you wearing maroon and orange, you're going to be united on that front. There'll be people there wearing navy blue and gold, and silver. But they won't necessarily be attacked. You'll give them maybe a hard time. I know certain places go after fans of other teams, but usually it's good-natured things. I go back to Richie Davis and I, and we traveled to Nebraska. And I've told this story a lot, but we watched Virginia Tech, and we went to go see the Broncos and Chiefs. Virginia Tech won the game. Tyrod Taylor was magnificent. And every Nebraska fan, Richie had his Tech stuff, and everybody knew we were from Virginia. Everybody congratulated us on the win. They were talking about Frank Beamer and how they wish their program had so much respect for how they've watched Tech's program from afar be a lot like theirs. And I know Frank Beamer used to say that a lot about, his relationship. He and Tom Osborne were very close, the former Nebraska coach and AD. Nobody was trying to beat us up or hurt us because we had a different rooting interest in that game. And sports can be that. And I think that's the way I've always gone about my life in politics. I have a lot of close friends. I may not agree with everything they believe politically. I don't care what they believe politically. It's none of my business. How do they treat me as a person? How much respect do they show me? How much fun do I have being around these people? That should be what matters. I don't care how they vote. I would hope they don't care how I would vote. Who cares? Does it really matter? Apparently, that's a resounding yes, it does. But we can never have that moment now in this country because already you see the discourse about what happened yesterday. We could never have it. If somebody attacked this country today like that in 9/11, I don't know. Hell, there might be people celebrating that live in this country. And that's a sad state of affairs of where we are here in 2025. And yesterday was a very sad state of affairs. If you can't see it, if you don't understand it, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. But anyway, I just didn't feel like I could come on and just, hey, let's talk about sports. We got to be. No, yesterday was, it impeded upon everything else because it was real life and it's how things are and it supersedes everything else. I'm very grateful to have this program. I'm very grateful that we've been on a month today. I'm very grateful that Neil Leahy made me this, the BDST text line sleeve. So now you can actually almost see it. There we go. Professional door, 3910788. And I'm grateful for all of you. I'm grateful that we've been able to have wonderful sponsors, which I'm going to talk about here in a second. I'm grateful that I'm encouraged after a month being on here because I got to be honest, I wasn't, still not, when I come on, how this thing's going to go. Never am sure. but you've made me more at ease with your acceptance of it. So I thank you for all that. But we do want to thank all of our sponsors, Family Fencing Studios, Jason Green and the gang. By the way, any comments you want to make, put them in chat. You're not going to get admonished by me unless you just say something ridiculously stupid about somebody's demise. That's what this show's always been about. I always like to engage with people who have a differing opinion because it's your opinion. Your opinion's fine. Everybody has a different opinion. You come at things differently. I want to know why you arrived at your opinion. Like I try to explain how I've arrived at mine when I have an opinion that I express on the program. Does that mean I don't like you or want you to watch and listen? No, I think it's great. It means you care. It means you have passion for it. We talk about apathy with Virginia Tech football. What do you want? Fans booing and being very vocal about how much displeasure they see when this program goes 0-2, or do you want them just going, well, if we get out now, we'll probably get home in time to watch the late game on ESPN. But anyway, Family Fencing Studios, go see Jason Green and the gang. They have free quotes. They have payment plans. They're terrific. Business is taking off, and I see, people want privacy. They want their property lines, and they do any kind that you want, residential, commercial, agricultural. Go see them. Good people. And speaking of the chat room, thanks to Mark Hunley, McClellan Chiropractic. So yesterday I was talking to Chad Hyatt. We were up at the track, and we were recording some videos for our Hall of Fame. And he said, and he challenged me, because remember I said that I was going to go to McClellan with a camera and let the machines just do their work. He says, I won't do it. Oh, yes, I will. So then my video director, Brian Yo, he said, we'll give you a GoPro. So you can put a GoPro on and get smashed and popped and thanks to Travis Williams, everybody Professional Door Incorporated. The text line, see, this is what Neil made me right there. 540-391-0788. They do garage doors, residential and commercial, Route 100, right across from New River Community College. Been in business for 38 years. How about that? How awesome is that? 38 years. I counted this morning, Ryan Pry, the attorney, 701 West Main Street in Radford, sponsors our BDST question of the week. 86 of you have responded. 86. The question was simple. How many wins do you believe Virginia Tech is going to end up with in 2025 after starting 0-2? National Bank, member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of BDST here on YouTube. Thank you so much. Been there 35 years. I'm going there today. Got to take care of some things. And they will take care of me. And I will walk out of the bank and I will be going, yeah. That's my peeps right there. And Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. And they have new logos here. We're going to show you right now because these are brand new. There's the first one, Experience Pulaski County. Looking good. And then the second one here, similar, but also very dapper, if I do say so myself. But Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment is building something special here in Southwest Virginia. Tournaments, events, concerts, and more. Pulaski County is creating opportunities and experiences for its residents while establishing itself as one of their premier sports destinations. With venues like historic Calfee Park, Motorsports Park, Randolph Park. It's all there, and I can't wait till we have folks on and talk about the Pulaski County Sportsplex. Check them out. If you're sitting around to work, playpulaskiva.org, and you're going to be very encouraged and very, very happy. Very, very happy that you did, because they're terrific. And Little River Heating and Air. Go see Charles Lee. I know he's already gotten a few jobs from people. Thank you. That's great. That's what this is all about. Partnership, true partnership. Took care of me. Nothing more stressful, man. You're going to come home in October, November, and your stuff's not going to work, and you're going to be stressing out. Don't stress. Just give them a call. Go see Little River Heating and Air. Get on their schedule, and they will take care of you and you'll be very happy. So thank you so much for all of you who have reached out to help us on the show. Sponsorship, it means the world. Couldn't be on without you. There's lots of hidden costs with this that you may not know about. I got an update, by the way. I got an update yesterday. Oh, by the way, let me know if you are in the comment section. Let me know if you have any problem. Our internet was down all night. I was panicking. When I went to bed, the internet wasn't working. It's back up this morning, so let me know how we look and sound. Everything good on your end? Everything good? Let me know. Let me know. Because I know you're very good at that. If I'm like distorted, if I'm coming at you like Quasimodo or something. Good on your end. Thanks, Garrett. All right. That's good. If one person's getting me, I should be good. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Speaking of Quasimodo, you know what I've been watching mostly lately? Old monster movies. Isn't there something about an old monster movie? Doesn't matter who it is. Godzilla, King Kong. I don't consider one of my all-time favorite movies is the original Jurassic Park. None of the rest of them have been good at all. The first Jurassic World was interesting, but it kind of went off the rails. The third one was decent when they brought back Sam O'Neill. Maybe. Nah, it was okay. But the first one is the OG. All right, that's just. But I've been watching some of these older. It's just, I don't know. Like, oh, why am I losing the name? I just watched it. Who was the first Kong movie? Skull Island? Love that movie. Love Skull Island. Could watch it all the time. Good morning, Rodney. How are you? So anyway, getting back to T-shirts, I did speak with the folks that I'm having the mock-ups done, and I'm supposed to have the mock-ups by the end of the week. So when I have those, what I'll do is I'll download them here, and we'll let you look at them, and you tell me what you like, and that's what we're going to go with. Okay? I'm not great at that stuff, so I will definitely do that. Thank you so much, Emery, on our text line, on our professional door text line. Thanks to Neil Leahy. The last 8 doesn't quite go in. So, Neil, we may have to do it one more time and move the 5 a little closer here, and I think we'll be good to go. But Neil made that for me yesterday. Neil, the unofficial producer, until I can afford to, paint. I'm a startup operation. Emery says, Rick, you look like you're losing a little bit of weight. Yeah, I have. Thank you, Emery. Appreciate that. Yeah, lost a few pounds. Is it showing? Am I starting to get these shallowed, swollen, sunken cheeks? A little bit. New column comes out in the Patriot tomorrow. Brian Seigla here in just a little bit. Brian Seigla, now the creator of I love those guys. The Boundary Corner guys are great. They don't pull any punches about what's going on with Tech football. He said, I'm done. He says, I'm out. I got to ask him about that. And we'll talk about their podcast and the conclusions that they drew. Tech, by the way, hanging in there at 7.5-point favorite. Getting a few messages about. I've already addressed the what happened yesterday with the slaying of Charlie Kirk. So if that's where you want to take things on the chat room or in the text line, that's perfectly fine. You do whatever you feel like you need to do. I did what I felt like I needed to do. Pat McAfee said it much better than I ever could. Much better than I ever could. So that's why I read his tweet verbatim. That was well said. That's well said. And that's why he has become a superstar in social media and everything else. Whether you like him all the time or not, the guy knows what he's doing. And, he's well thought out when he actually is not being ESPN'd. If you know what I mean. If you know, you know. But Brian Seigla and those guys, we'll see what they have to say. Andy Bitter. You know what was great? If you went to Tech Sideline, so we had Teal on yesterday, and then I think he sat down and I will talk to Andy about it. He was with Andy and Chris and all the folks there on the Tech Sideline, just the immaculate studio they have now for their podcast. And they were there, and they were doing their thing. They were doing their thing. So Teal was on there. So that was great. That was great. Garrett, wait. Did I hear you say yesterday that you didn't have a game this one? Correct. No, I don't. Does that mean this weekend is the football watch party? Nah, I don't have time to probably organize it the way I need to, Garrett. You're right, though. I'm missing an opportunity. But what it could mean is I might go on live during the Tech game. If that happens, I'll put it up on our social media, and you guys can join me. And if you want to jump on with me, you shoot me your email, and I'll send you an invitation. Hell, we can get 6 people on here. Reggie says a lot has been made of the new defensive coordinator running schemes based on the opponent. I wonder if this is too complicated for college athletes who don't have the time to practice. That the pros do. Less complicated, as Nick Saban used to say when he got to Alabama, means more production, Reg. There's something to that. I mean, he came from the NFL. I think it's a good point. This is why you're the smartest listening audience in radio/YouTube. Came from the NFL, where even those guys, as to Reggie's point, will say, it's just too complicated. Or when it changes, when they change coordinators or change schemes, they'll say, it's not as complicated. We can just go play. We can be more direct with our assignments. We know what we're supposed to do, and we can just go out there and unleash and play. Could be something to that, Reggie. Because, well, I don't know what happened in this. Well, we know what happened in the second half against Vandy. That was just pure physical domination. That's what that was. But that's a very good point. Very good point. I'm sorry, but, for me, I live it. Keep it simple, stupid. Like this whole thing, this whole YouTube world. There were times when I thought, okay, we're going to do this, and I'd look at it and I'd read about it, and I'd go, I can't do that. And then I found a cohort who's been doing it. Just keep it simple. So, yeah, something to that. By the way, I have to read this because now that I'm part of the YouTube family. YouTube has officially dethroned Disney, sorry, NBC, Paramount, Fox, and Warner Brothers as America's true TV king in the latest viewership data. You ready for this? This is why moving to this format was timely and absolutely necessary. They've passed all the legacy giants. Listen to this. According to Nielsen's media distributor gauge, YouTube now commands 11.8% of all television usage in the United States, a leap of more than 50% compared to 2 years ago. And I'd like to think that the addition of BDST has definitely made that number explode even more after a month. The growth is not confined to kids and teenagers. It stretches across every demographic from small children to retirees. And the conclusion is inescapable. Consumers are flocking to YouTube, yes, you, while legacy TV outlets continue to lose ground. And it's because of the broad appeal of this format. You can find anything you want on it, watch whatever you want. I do, all sorts of different things. What's great is adults 65 or older are making up 18% of YouTube's audience. Yes, I'm going to say we. That's right. I'm now we here on YouTube, Wayne. Young adults, though, along the target audience of advertisers, remain the major force. 21% of folks aged 18 to 34 are watching YouTube. How about that? So YouTube's now dominating it. The algorithm-driven short-form videos to long-form content like this, live streams. And people are ditching their cable bundles and realizing that this is the way to go. And you know what? The major studios and places like Disney and all these places, they're just offering nothing but crap. Politically infused crap that nobody wants to watch. And YouTube, you can find everything. If you got a hankering for sports, this is why you're watching BDST. If you want to watch something about jewelry, you can go find it on. You want to watch old clips, it's here. So we here at the YouTube family would like to thank you for making us surpass all these other legacy media corporations who can't get their head out of you know what. Yes, sir. No mention of BDST in the article. I was a little surprised. Oh, well. So people are complimenting our new text line. Yeah, see, but the last 8 doesn't show up. I got to fix that. We got to move that over. Maybe make the number just a wee bit smaller. Neil will adjust it. Wayne says, but can I watch a 75th incarnation of Star Wars on Disney? Disney should have their entertainment license revoked forever for the fact that it destroyed Star Wars. Forever. You had the number one, at the time, I guess MCU passed it there, but you had the number one IP in the history of cinema, and you completely just destroyed it. You had one good season of The Mandalorian, and everything else has just been absolute crap. Crap. Oh, hang on. I got a cover now, but I sound like you don't want to watch me drink something. So I got a cover from Wayne there. See the YouTube. See my little Bigfoot. Believe. You better believe. By the way, we're still working on Jeff Meldrum. We're going to get Dr. Jeff Meldrum on. And I will not shy from from promoting this book, Jeremy Haymore, The Bandana Express. There you go. It's lovely. Awesome. Read the first chapter. I'm going to dive back into it this weekend. But Garrett, as much as I would like to, I can't really pull off I can't pull that off this weekend. It would have to be something. I'm going to look down the road here because I'm only going to have like a month to do it. But I would like to do that. I'd love to have people over here for football like we talked about. It'll be bring your own meats, bring your own beverages. I have no problem at all cooking it properly for you. And if you want it well done, prepare it ahead of time. My grill, there's not a well done function on my grill. If you want to ruin a perfectly good piece of steak or hamburger, you want to make it, they want to make me brown. No. And by the way, I do not just stick them on the grill. I don't like the grill marks. Bobby Flay showed me a long time ago. People say, well, I put it on aluminum foil, cook it. It's better. It savors all the juices. It keeps it right there. Trust me. I was an old school guy like you. I get criticized a lot. You don't let the grill marks show up? No. Because you see, those parts get dried out and charred. They're not very good. So you'll have one piece of medium rare steak. Then you have the grill mark, and it's well done. No. But anyway, I'm trying to get Jeff Meldrum on to talk about Bigfoot. It's a little different when you have a video thing as opposed to a TV, just radio thing. But I think we're going to get on there at some point. I'll let you know. Brian Seigla here in about 10 minutes. Then Andy Bitter and Dwight Vick. Tech's still 7.5-point favorites, by the way, tomorrow night. I think the line's going to stay right there. Don't think it's going to move. Check out my column. It's about what's going on at Virginia Tech tomorrow in the Patriot. Mike Williams. You should always be checking out the Patriot. Rodney Young, who joins us here, is a terrific writer covering high school sports. Fourth and Goal show will be tomorrow, 9 o'clock, 9 a.m., myself and Jermaine. Brought to you by National Bank, member FDIC, and Professional Door Incorporated, Travis Williams. Tomorrow. Yes, Hokey Bob. Well done equals jerky. So you put the nonstick aluminum foil down. And I learned all this because, once my my marriage dissolved, I was responsible for feeding my 3 kids. So I didn't know what the hell to do. I knew some things. So I started watching, I don't know if it's even still on, Food Network at the time. It's gotten so, much like MTV when it stopped playing music videos. But I never missed Bobby Flay's show. I loved it. I learned a lot. And I still utilize a lot of what I learned there from him. And he started doing all these things with steak that totally went against how I was raised, watching my dad do it. Look, if you're looking for, I have no qualms about sharing. If you want your steak to taste better than anything you've ever done, unless you have your own marinade and you're kind of prejudiced toward that, and I get it. If you've made something and that's what you like, that there's no wrong answer there. But if you want something simple, Worcestershire sauce, right? And the Grill Mates little seasoning. You won't need extra salt. If you want to slab some butter in there, that's fine. Cook it on your grill with aluminum foil under it. Just do it one time. Just one time. And if you don't like it, well, you're going to be wrong. Just try it one time. And anyway, that's the way I'll be fixing meat here when we do our meetup. Now, if you'd rather have the char marks, I can rip off half of the aluminum foil. We'll put yours over on the other side. Because I went back. I didn't just do it this way, never went back. I remember when I did it this way, I was like, wow, he was right. It's really good. Really good. So I went back and fixed it the old way, and I was like, you're getting to the char mark, and you're like, One side was medium rare, the other side was well done. No, Wayne, no. By the way, if you ever fix a steak and you're immediately grabbing the A1 or the Heinz 57 or any, then you did it wrong. See, steak has its own sauce. It's called the juices there within. And that's what Bobby Flay used to talk about. That's why he put it on aluminum foil and kept it all right there. If you have to go grab A1, then you failed. You have completely and utterly failed at the grill. A1? Hey, here's my brand new. Look at this. I just made a New York strip. Looks great. Where's the A1? What? No. A1? How is that still even in business? But anyway, I digress. Tech 7.5-point favorites. Tonight, NC State and Wake. NC State 7.5-point favorites. They're both 2-0, but Wake they haven't played very good competition. They're not very good. It'll be a nice look ahead to two future Virginia Tech opponents if you want to check it out tonight. The Georgia Tech Clemson spread has fallen to 2.5, but Miami's still 17.5-point favorites. I wonder if South Florida has an injury that I don't know about. Jimmy says, I've gone to the 611 Steakhouse with my dad because of you. I didn't go for the A1. Hey, yeah, there you go. Thank you. No, Rodney Selma does not use A1. She is anti-against that. As a matter of fact, that's what brought us together many years ago. Our disdain for A1 steak sauce. I love the McClellan chiropractic chat. Our month anniversary today. As I addressed when we opened, a lot of things in the world not going well, especially what happened yesterday. Today's anniversary of 9/11. We'll never, ever forget. So that does not get lost on me today. Trust me. We're constantly going to have that, and we should. We should always bring that to the forefront today. Always. Now people are telling me they're getting hungry because we're talking about steak on our professional door text line. Well, I mean, it's 6:41. I mean, there's things called breakfast steak, right? You can go find breakfast steaks. I mean, it's out there. It's a thing. Can you really lose if you're eating steak in the morning? I don't think so. I mean, matter of fact, I might be a proponent of that all day. Steak and bacon. I'm ready for the day. And that's really all you need. Oh, that's a great idea, David. Wow. This is why you're the best audience. When you have the watch party, you should have an old 96er contest. Great movie. I still love that movie. Man, John Candy was brilliant. There's a documentary coming out about John Candy and his career. I want to watch it. I don't remember what streaming service it's on. The winner gets a free BDST t-shirt. And I think that would be proper motivation, David. I mean, because you're eating a big steak, so that's already going to be good. And then if you win, hey, you walk out the old 96er. No, you got to eat the gristle. But he did, and he won. Gristle. Good stuff. Good stuff. Andy Bitter coming up at 7. Brian Seigla coming up here in just a little bit. I was just letting him know I sent the invitation in case he wasn't looking for it. Not a bad idea, though. Not a bad idea at all. But we're going to get into everything. First of all, we get into his reaction from last week, and we're going to talk about what they designed. I have not seen it this week yet. Too much other stuff going on, especially with everything that happened yesterday. So I have not read all the wonderful. Apparently, they have a lot of stats that's pretty damning about Virginia Tech's recent history. So we'll get them to talk about that. And then Dwight Vick at 8. Heard from Dwight quite frequently Saturday night. It was great. See if I'm sure he has. He's very rational. I'm going North Carolina State tonight. Notre Dame Joe on our professional door text line. I'm going to go NC State tonight. I don't think Wake's very good. Might be wrong, but I don't think they're very good. So we'll see. All right, now joining us on the program, the aforementioned Brian Seigla. There he is. His wonderful
How
backdrop.
we doing this morning?
I'm hanging in there, man. Well, you know, it's a little tough day. You've got a couple things going on with what happened yesterday and then 9/11. You know, we got real life kind of seeps into our sports fantasy world sometimes, right? And real life seeped into your Boundary Corner podcast watching Virginia Tech Saturday night, didn't it?
It certainly did. It certainly did. And, you know, it's, as you said, you know, we got 9/11, obviously, you know, a couple incidents yesterday that definitely bring real life back into otherwise picturesque sports world, but on the Virginia Tech front, yeah, it was a rough game, especially in the second half. Obviously, we let that one get away from us very badly. I don't know if you got a chance to check it out, but we actually held a wake for the Virginia Tech football program on Tuesday night. We let folks come in, bring a drink, express their frustrations a little bit, and it was somewhat therapeutic, but it's one of those things where I'm getting a little concerned that we're on a path where it's going to be hard to pull back at this point unless we make some really big changes.
100%. I mean, I get it. And you basically just said, hey, I was done. I saw you after Saturday. You were just like, I know it was emotional time, but you're like, what do we do now? And you guys, I know I get a lot of people, show you how many people are watching your podcast, tell me that you guys had great stats, not so great from Tech, but very helpful stats to let them realize where things really are right now with Tech.
Yeah, and that's a credit to Shelton Moss. He's in on our crew. Obviously, I know Rick. You know Shelton pretty well as well, and he's a great guy, and did a really big dive. He did a piece for the key play that he put out. I believe it was Monday, and he talked about some of the stats that he did for the research there. And when you kind of put it together, it's like we're almost lucky that we're as good as we are, considering where some of these things are falling. Like it's much worse than it from a record standpoint. It could be worse based on what we're doing on the field and how bad Brent Pry has been in some of these close games. So when you put it all out there, it's really impressive how bad we've been in close competitions, especially relative to the teams that we've played and the circumstances in which we played them.
It's a great way to put it. Brian Seigla joining us from the Boundary Corner podcast. Tech trying to get that first win on Saturday night. We know what the problems are. We watch and we see it, but I just got to get your take. How did your emotions change? Because like me, Saturday at halftime, a couple people over, and I was going, see, that's what I thought we were going to see. They got that late field goal, 20-10. They're back home. They showed us enough during South Carolina that there was some positive stuff. All right. And then I was literally speechless the last 5 minutes of the game thinking, what did I just watch? How did that happen?
It's like I've never seen the wheels completely fall off like that. I think that's the thing that surprised me. And it was like as soon as there was a good amount of punchback from Vanderbilt, we just folded.
Right.
Like a lawn chair. We folded like a lawn chair. It was really disappointing to watch because in the first half, there were some mistakes, but you put together a couple good drives. You forced a couple turnovers. You looked like you were playing complimentary football on in every phase, right? And then all of a sudden, you come out of the second half and it's just flat on your face, and it's over and over. And as bad as the third quarter was with them fighting back and taking the lead, I think the fourth quarter was just, it was sad because you saw the life just completely drain out of the team. And it's like, okay, well, they're up now. The game's over, and it just got out of hand from there.
What was the panel's thoughts on Saturday? Because you're going to have a very motivated Old Dominion team, right? Because they have a lot of guys on there. Hey, we couldn't play at a Power 4. We couldn't make it. So here we are going into a place. They know they have a wounded animal in Virginia Tech. What's your confidence level that they can rally the troops regardless of the opponent and come out and do the things we've been used to seeing them do at Lane Stadium on Saturday nights?
At this point, I've said, regardless of opponent, I'm not picking the Hokies to win until they show me they can do it. So I actually picked against the Hokies. The rest of us, the rest of our crew, they went with the Hokies, but they went with the Hokies in a one-score game. And as much as that might help Brent Pry's record in that capacity, going into 4 quarters of hell with ODU, coming off of what you saw against Vanderbilt, probably isn't going to be a sign of confidence for the rest of the season either.
Well, that's right. And you know what makes them even more dangerous? Well, first of all, you know about their quarterback. I know that you guys have seen what he can. He's a leading FBS quarterback rusher. But when they played Indiana, they jumped out to the lead. They lost it. But usually you see a team like ODU fold up like that. They didn't. They played very hard. Now, they didn't win the game. They couldn't get much going offensively after those two plays. But they stood toe-to-toe. I think that game was, 27-14, something like that? It was a very respectable score, and they were still battling in the fourth quarter. And that was different for me watching them, because usually that's the kind of game, once you fall behind, you're going to lose 41-14, something like that. Just gets out of hand, gets off the kilter. But that didn't happen. So, and NC Central's an FCS team. They're a very good, as David Teal pointed out yesterday, a very good FCS team, 52-6.
Yeah.
So this isn't your usual Old Dominion coming in here Saturday.
Yeah, and we've seen even teams that we've handled. ODU has been able to punch up against other competition, other very solid competition. We saw it with South Carolina last year. We've seen ODU. They're not necessarily a team that's going to go out there week in, week out and give P4 a very good fight all the time, but they can punch up when they need to, and this is going to be their Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's a great point. And you've got to meet that emotion. And I thought they did a good job of that in the opener. I thought that they handled after they kind of got, had to find their footing. Didn't do it at all. Second half against Vanderbilt. And then that's the thing too, Brian, about all this. That was a road team. A lot of times home teams will be behind at halftime and go, okay, we got to fix this, guys. Come on, we're at home. Momentum will build, and then the road team kind of collapses. This was a road team coming out against the home team that had a 10-point lead and acting as if they knew they were going to win the football game. And that's alarming. I never thought I'd see that at Lane Stadium. Not to that degree.
I feel like, I think someone said it when we were having the wake on Tuesday, but it's almost like we've become a souvenir for college football. We're an atmosphere and an entrance, but we're not anything of substance on the football field at this point.
Well said. Well said. So what was your final score of the game? You had Old Dominion winning. What did you pick it?
We didn't actually do scores this week, but if I had to give you a score right now, I'd say let's go 30-27 ODU.
Wow. And the thing about it, I can't sit here and go, that won't happen. Yeah, I can see that. Now, here's the other thing. I'm just going to get your speculation on this, because let's say the unlikely happens. I still say it's unlikely. Let's say Old Dominion walks off of Worsham Field at 10:30 and they have more points than Virginia Tech. Can you imagine what Monday's going to be like in Blacksburg?
It would not. If at that point, if you don't see things start to move, the machinations start to go in motion, I think there will be a very, very empty Lane Stadium come Wofford the following week.
Agreed. And that can be, even though you're going to win that game, but that can be kind of the death knell. When you look around, if you see a half full noon kickoff Virginia Tech Wofford game, if they were, that just tells you that the optics are going to be terrible. And I don't know how you can continue to go about this the way it's going, if that makes sense,
Yeah, it's going to be difficult to justify staying the course, regardless at this point. And I feel like if you see that, we're at a point. We talked about it, I think, a couple weeks ago when I was on here. We're at a point where Witt can't make a third football hire here. So if this isn't the path, then there's going to be turnover from the top on down from a football standpoint.
What did everybody wear to the wake? Everybody have on the proper black attire? I know Virginia Tech loves their black, so I'm sure you guys fit right in.
So Tally wore his Brave alternate gear. So he was like, I was like, so you went from one team that's underperforming to another here. So it's like, okay. Yeah, it's a tough year for me and Tally being Hokies fans and Braves fans. So.
Yeah.
Thankfully, you see the helmets in the back there. My Colts did okay this weekend. We'll see if they can keep it up.
Your Colts played my Broncos, by the way. Broncos lifer, So
there we go.
There you go.
There we go.
There you go. So we got the two ponies going head to head this weekend. So
let's see who prevails.
That's right. Well, let people know again how they can find the Boundary Corner. If you're not watching it, you're missing out. It was a lot of fun, and everybody was talking about your latest podcast. Those numbers were very alarming to people that Shelton had brought up. So
yeah, he did a great job with that. Yeah, you can find us at Boundary Corner on X. If you go on Instagram, it's at Boundary Corner VT, and you can get all of our episodes, videos, all that fun stuff at boundarycornervt.com.
All right, man. Well, listen, great stuff. I hope you can enjoy the game on Saturday, and look forward to getting your take next week.
I'm traveling to Orlando Saturday around lunchtime, so I will be experiencing this game probably at a restaurant or bar in Orlando. So
Gotcha. Well, if you're in Orlando, you're going to feel pretty good. So
That's right.
Yeah. Well, safe travels. I hope you have a good weekend, and we'll reconvene next week.
Appreciate it, Rick. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, brother. All right, great stuff. Great stuff there from Brian Seigla. So, yeah, he's not going to be in town. I love the wake idea. That was awesome. That's funny. That's good stuff. Very smart. Very, very smart. He's got Old Dominion winning. I get it. I understand why you do that. I do. I get that. I'm not going there yet. I still think they're going to win the game because Old Dominion has played so poorly here. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Am I going to be overly surprised if it happens? No. I hate to say that. Hit us up on the Professional Door Incorporated text line. Many of you are lighting up again. I'm trying to find where's my Andy Bitter message? Okay. Letting him know. I like to tell people when I send the invite. Andy Bitter's going to join us. I can't wait to. That's great. He and Teal was in there. Teal was great yesterday. I'm excited about that conversation and how it went. That'll be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. So, yeah, hit me up on all the opinions that you have about the game. So, anyway. Getting some great comments. Thank you, people who understood exactly why I felt like I had to address what had happened yesterday, especially today on 9/11. I'm not going to read all of them, but I'm getting some very good comments. Thank you so much. Those of you who understand and feel the same way that I do about all this. Shouldn't matter what you represent. Shouldn't matter as long as if you're trying to openly debate with people. And what happened yesterday was a very sad indictment on what we've become here in this country. And unfortunately, it's not changing anytime soon. So-called media outlets celebrating what happened yesterday. It's whew, wow. Any event, Dwight Vick in hour 3. So, yeah, thank you for the message. I really appreciate them all. I really do. I appreciate all of our sponsors, Family Fencing Studios. I want to thank them sponsoring our studio here in Reiner. Go see Jason and the crew, 540-200-8294 at familyfencingnrv.com. McClellan Chiropractic, we want to thank them for sponsoring our chat room. Mark Hundley and the crew, they do a great job. I want to thank Little River Heating and Air. It's starting to get a little chilly every morning. Go see Charles Lee, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg. They do an outstanding job. Our BDST fan question of the week, the attorney Ryan Pry, thank you, 701 West Main Street. How many wins will Virginia Tech have after everything that's happened? Well, we've had over 80 responses, so that's pretty good. National Bank, member FDIC, thank you to Lara Ramsey, the president there, the exclusive banking partner of BDST. And I mentioned earlier, Professional Door up in Dublin. Residential, commercial garage doors, family owned and operated, 38 years sponsor of our text line. And obviously each and every day this program presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. And we want to thank all those folks. So thank you so much for making all this possible here on YouTube. And you read the numbers. It's now the #1 entertainment propriety in this country. That's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. All right, let's now get right to it here as we start hour number 2. And there he is, looking all dapper. He looked great yesterday during the Tech Sideline podcast. Andy Bitter, the lead football writer for Tech Sideline. What's up, brother? How are you? Good morning.
I'm pretty good. How are we doing?
Doing great. That was fun, man. We had till on in the morning sitting there watching with you guys. That was a lot of fun. Talk about that conversation and how his article was really good and pretty much to the point, wasn't it?
Yeah, and when it's coming from somebody like Teal, pretty serious stuff, right? I mean, that's not a hot take artist that's coming in with that stuff. So when he writes stuff like that, you listen to it. So yeah, I think that is the gravity of the situation right now involving Virginia Tech, and enjoyed that conversation with him on our podcast, and got called in to join the group with that. So that was fun. I'm glad we can patch people in. This is a great technology now to do that.
It is a great technology. Well, and if you would just discuss some of the things in case people missed him on our show yesterday. Just talk about some of the things that he was pointing out and what you guys were discussing. And how did you feel about some of those points that he was making? I mean, obviously, I'm sure you felt very similarly to that.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote in post game and in my 5 thoughts, kind of along the similar lines. This is sort of a raise the DEFCON level right now in Blacksburg. If these conversations weren't happening before about whether or not there's a future for Whit Babcock and Brent Pry and Virginia Tech, they're certainly taking place now. You can't start the season 0-2 like that. You can't have a result like that in your home opener where you're outscored 34-0 in the second half and say that this program is going in the right direction. And this was a make it or break it season. This is a year where they had to perform on the field to show that Brent Pry is the right man to lead this program. And if he's not the right guy to lead this program, then they're going to have to find somebody else. And the guy who's hired the last 2 coaches now that have not worked out is also, on the chopping block here with Babcock. So, I mean, there's all sorts of things that are being discussed, I'm sure, by the Virginia Tech Board of Visitors, the people that will ultimately have to decide, one way or another, which way this thing is going to go. And it could be an interesting couple months.
There's no doubt, Bill Roth was on yesterday and he said, look, they all know, like, it's not like it's a taboo thing. They know, they speak to each other within the walls, and I guess they can't get away from it. But is a win over Old Dominion going to fix it? No. Is it going to help you show you that they're supposed to win games at home that they're supposed to win? But yes. But what do you think Saturday night is going to be like in terms of, because you're going to be there, you always get there early and watch the fans come in. It's going to be interesting to see the kind of vibe that's around Lane Stadium Saturday.
Yeah, and I'll be curious to see the crowd size. That was a strong sellout crowd at Vanderbilt, like legitimately a sellout, not one of those paper sellouts where there's, right, empty seats up in the corners and you go, well, okay, how did SeatGeek get them to the sellout on this particular game? Some fans, I think, are going to start speaking with their wallets and stop showing up to this type of stuff, which is problematic because then it becomes a math problem for a coach and an AD. And like, okay, how much is it costing us to continue to have these people in charge versus, the cost of what it would take to remove them? Because it's not an insignificant cost. I think both have buyouts probably in the $6 million range for the rest of their contracts. Wow. That's a heavy lift still. That's not nothing. It's not the most over. I mean, in today's age of buyouts, post Jimbo Fisher, anything is possible. But, it really comes down to, are fans going to stop showing up? Are donors going to start withholding their big contributions? And then you go, well, we're losing money by having these people around. So, I'll be interested to see kind of what the fan base, the crowd is like. And then obviously the result, a win against ODU doesn't really do anything. Like you said, doesn't move the needle. A loss cleared my schedule on Sunday and Monday because, if you start 0-3 and another loss to Old Dominion, I mean, talk about something that could spur people into action. So if I'm Brent Pry, do not lose this game. You can't lose this game.
Yeah, yeah. Andy Bitter joined us, the senior writer for Tech Sideline. It's a great point. And take us through, because I was following you on Twitter. I had Dwight Vick on the phone, and I'm watching your tweets. You've covered Tech for a long, long time. And to see what a road team was able to do to kind of circle the wagons at halftime after all the mistakes they were making with penalties. I mean, I thought Clark Lee was acting like he was dealing with an ACC officiating crew. It's the shots they were catching on the sideline, and rightfully so. The turnovers in the first half, but yet to do that, what was going through your mind as you watched this unfold? I was just kind of sitting there in disbelief midway through the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, there's only one other game that really comes to mind when I think about how drastically that turned, and it's that Duke game in 2019. And end of the first quarter, Virginia Tech was winning that game 3-0, and then it was just an avalanche. I mean, it completely turned, and this one it was even a little more extreme than that because Virginia Tech was doing all right for a half. And I know there were some cracks there on the defense. They're getting up a lot of rushing yardage. I think it was like 6.3 yards per carry. And you go, I don't know if that's going to hold up over the course of a game. And Vandy had a couple turnovers that obviously changed the complexion. But second half, it was just a complete and utter rout. And there was no response, offensively or defensively, by the Hokies. And you're like, man, if this is a team whose coaching staff is coaching for its lives here, you got to show something. You got to show a pulse. You got to show some sort of, counter in some way. And instead, Vandy just kept running through them. Even when Vandy was making mistakes, they kept getting behind the chains because of penalties and still getting first downs there. Right. There's no response defensively, which I think was probably the most disappointing part because you thought, oh man, maybe Sam Cephas is a dude.
Yeah.
Maybe he knows exactly how he's going to counter this stuff. And yeah, they might make a move, but he'll have some kind of response to that. They didn't have any sort of response. And then offensively, it's been more of the same. You can't have 21 yards in a half, barely getting to positive yardage at the very end and expect to win a game. And it was just, it felt like a complete surrender by the team.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And this is week 2 of the season. There's not a reason to be demoralized. There's not a reason to be overwhelmed by an opponent like this. You expected a better effort than that, and you just didn't get it.
Andy Bitter joining us on the program from Tech Sideline. What surprised you the most offensively? The offensive line has been bad, but Kyron Drones, is it just time to, and I know it goes hand in hand, quarterback play and offensive line. I understand that, but is it time for people just to realize he's just who he is at this point? We're not going to see that kind of giant leap we kind of thought we were a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I keep going back to the offensive line play. The way that line was beat up in the second half. And you saw the first half. He played pretty good.
He did.
It was like 113 and 60-some yards at halftime rushing, 2 touchdowns, moved the ball. There are obviously some throws you want to back. That's always the case. Any quarterback, every game, nobody's going to play a perfect game. And then you have 2 starting offensive linemen go down on a line that wasn't, all great shakes going in. And Vanderbilt just sent the house every time, and Virginia Tech had no response. And when I say no response, I mean, the players out there, but also the coaches. It didn't feel like they adjusted schematically to the fact that, like, they're bringing extra rushers on every single play. You're still sending all these guys out. You got to give them some help behind the play. And I don't think Drones played well, but, man, he's just under siege on every single play. I don't know what you expect him to do when he has absolutely no time in the pocket to do anything. So, perhaps maybe trying to expect Drones to make something out of nothing, but you got to scheme him up for a little bit more success in this game. And he needs to play better, but he needs help on the offensive line.
It's only 2 games, probably not a fair question to ask. What do you think about the new collection of receivers? We saw the Greens look great against South Carolina, some great catches, but what do you think now? They didn't have a lot of play, but again, not a lot of time was given in the second half in particular, but how do you see that group developing, and where's the tight end usage that we're used to seeing over the years in Blacksburg?
Yeah, tight ends. I don't think tight ends are really a featured position in the Philip Montgomery offense.
Yeah,
I went back and looked some of the tight end stats at Tulsa. I was doing my preseason predictions. I was going to double down on a Benji Gosnell touchdown stat. And then because I was wrong last year, and I'm like, oh, he's going to break out eventually. And I looked at the stats. I'm like, oh, no, they don't really throw to the tight ends a whole lot. So I think that might just sort of be, indicative of the offense. They have them doing different stuff when they are in the game. I still am encouraged by this receiving group. I mean, even in that loss, Aiden Green had a really really nice catch, jumping up, sort of Velcro catch with one hand like that.
Yeah.
They need time for the quarterback to deliver them the ball. I don't know if I didn't think it was a case of like, oh, there's no separation out there, because the plays didn't have time to create is separation. They didn't have time to get downfield and get open. So I think it goes back to the offensive line. You got to give them some time. Protection needs to be better so these plays can develop, and then you can see what these receivers can actually do.
You mentioned the defensive breakdown, and we saw it, the adjustment in the first game, other than the play action pass. They played very well after that opening drive against South Carolina. To see them kind of give up, like you say, to be gutted right up the middle. I mean, the linebacker play, whatever it may have been, I think even though the offense wasn't good at all in the second half and they got shut out, I still think that's the most striking thing to me, is how that did not adjust like we saw it happening at South Carolina.
Yeah, and Vanderbilt, credit Vanderbilt for that offensive attack. I mean, you saw second half. It felt like they really cranked up the triple option elements in their offense.
Yes.
They had a lot of guys going a lot of different directions. Like, are they playing Georgia? Like Paul Johnson,
Johnson's back.
They had a lot of stuff like that. They had players on Virginia Tech side running just the wrong direction on plays because they're following a guy they thought they had the ball. The play is going the other direction. You had Diego Pavi on top of that. And again, all respect in the world to that guy, because he is just a competitor. He goes out there and he makes plays, and he pitched the ball on one play, and then he served as the lead blocker. Like, he got crushed. He got crushed on that play, but he still did it. And you see your quarterback do that, that can't help but fire you up on the sideline. But I don't feel like the defense really had a clue what it was doing to try to stop that. D-line play wasn't as good as it was against South Carolina, where they really contained Lenore Sellers. It really seemed like they had control in the trenches. That wasn't the case here. And then, linebacker play has been a problem all 4 years since Brent Pry has been here. And that is perplexing to me, because that is a position that Brent Pry has been a specialist in his career. That's what he coached at Penn State. That is what Chris Marv coached and played, defensive coordinator. Sam Seifkes has that expertise now at linebacker. You've got Sean Quinn, who's been one of the, top assistants and knowledgeable in this defense with Brent Pry since the start here. And linebacker play has been substandard, it feels like, the entire time here. And I don't know why that is such a tough position for the Hokies to figure out. And, listen, I get it. Tremaine Edmonds doesn't grow on trees, right? You're not going to find a 6'5" guy that's an eraser that's 240 pounds and runs like a cornerback. Like, you're not going to find that guy all the time.
Right.
But it feels like over this time, they should have found some guys that they can plug in and be productive. I thought Caleb Woodson would be a little bit more effective than he's been this year. Perhaps it's just, starting the season out, and obviously other issues with him that he's had to deal with here. But yeah, it doesn't feel like the linebackers are really there making a ton of plays.
Yeah, and what you hit on there, I was going to ask you. That's the biggest surprise to me after 3+ years under Brent Pry, defensive guru, and that's never been good. It hasn't been good on that side of the ball, or at least consistent. Or position groups haven't been consistent. Maybe the defensive line's playing okay, but you're right, the backers haven't been good at all. They lose their best corner, Monsieur Delaney, who's going off now the defense not coming together for a defensive-minded coach has been one of my biggest surprises to see in Brent Pry's program.
Yeah, no, I thought there would be obviously a learning curve with a new coordinator on that side, but God, after that opener and the way they contained Lenore Sellers for most of that game and the way they controlled the line of scrimmage, maybe South Carolina just has bad offensive line. We'll see. South Carolina plays Vanderbilt this week. I am fascinated by that game.
I am too.
One is in the top 10 and ranked by 7 or favored by 7 points. One is out of the top 25. And man, I might pick Vanderbilt to win that game. They just, comparing them against Virginia Tech, they just look like the better team in that thing. So we'll see come Saturday. But again, I go back to, I think the hope was that, man, they found a guy in Seifkes that's just like rising star. This guy can adjust anything. He's the next, you never want to say he's the next Bud Foster, but has some of those tendencies. I think Bud likes this guy quite a bit in his conversations about the different kinds of things he can do. And he looked helpless in that second half. It looked like he couldn't come up with any kind of answers. And, that's a tricky offense to try to, stop on the fly, but you kind of had an idea that they were going to do some of those triple option elements because they did to him last year. It was on film from the previous year. So I think Hokies fans hoping, man, this is going to be sort of a vintage Virginia Tech defense where they roll guys in and they're a problem for everybody. I think that's a disappointment there.
Now, you've been around it and had conversations, I'm sure. We had a couple of people in chat ask, so I'll ask you, do you think with Sifkas, he has come from the NFL background, his adjustment to make things a less complicated for college players as opposed to pro players, you think that's something he's still kind of, battling with a little bit?
Maybe. When you talk to all the coaches on this team, they've all been encouraged by the way he's taught this defense, in that you're teaching more techniques than you're teaching a specific scheme, at least how it's been described to me. And that makes it more adaptable from week to week. And that you go, okay, we're going to lean into this technique in this one instead of just kind of slightly altering the scheme. So, I'm not going to fully judge it after one game. It was obviously a bad game. They looked okay in the first half, forced a couple turnovers. They were, flying around and actually making some plays there. We'll see. I mean, ODU is not an easy offense. I mean, they got that quarterback runner there, and they, there's a lot of situations where if they break one, they can take it to the house. And this quarterback for ODU did that against Indiana. Had a long touchdown run early in that game. So, it's going to be another game where they're going to have to defend all 11 on the other side of the ball. I'll be interested to see how he comes up with a plan for that.
Yeah, another number 2 under center. They just saw number 2 is pretty good, Diego Mafia. And watching them play Indiana, the one thing I just mentioned a while ago, a team like Old Dominion, they lost the lead. You would think that score would have ended up 41-14, but it's 27-14, and they were still standing toe-to-toe, primarily with Indiana. And I thought, they're a little different, aren't they? This is a team that's brought in a lot of transfers, and Ricky Ronnie had them playing hard. And I thought they would fold, and that's something else. This may not be your typical, Old Dominion type of team coming in here.
Yeah, and I think, Jason Henderson, decided not to play football anymore because of a knee injury he had a couple years ago. I think, tough break there because he was a really wonderful player, and you hate to see that to happen to anybody. I think last year that was still sort of fresh for them. They expected him to be back, and they were adjusting to that early in the season. Maybe threw him off kilter a little bit. They played a lot of close games last year that they didn't come out on top in, but they were close in a lot of those games. So I wonder if maybe, a year of being like, all right, you're not going to have that guy out there, can adjust your defense around that. You have a quarterback, that was sort of a group of quarterbacks that they were working through last year. They have a guy now that they can trust. I think this is a more formidable team than ODU was last year. And, wrong time to if you're Virginia Tech to be playing a better ODU team. You would prefer that they, sort of be the dregs of college football right now. That's not the case. So they better come in Saturday ready for a fight, because I think they're going to get one. You
think the spread's about right? What was your call? What are you looking at in this game? What kind of game are you looking at?
I still have to put my prediction in, so I haven't done that.
Okay.
I think one of our buy or sells was that it was going to be a one-score game. I think it will be. I think I'll probably go about in line with the line, which is 7.5, I think, right now. Started at 10.5 or 10, and it went down considerably. Typically, when I don't really feel like I have a great sense of how the game is going to go, I just kind of go with where the line is. I'm like, you know who knows this stuff better than me? Vegas.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of money that's on the line at a place like that, and they're probably a little bit more in tune with it, certainly from the point spread side of things. So I'm in that range. I think it'll be a one-score game. I still got to figure out a score, though. I think the Hokies win. I don't know if it's necessarily hoping the Hokies win. Like I said, if Virginia Tech loses, my life is about to be a lot busier.
Yes.
So
yes, it will.
I've got a class on Monday, and I don't know if that class will be taking place if something like this happens. So we'll see.
Stay at home and do your reading materials. We'll be back next week.
Okay.
All right. So tonight, a couple of future Tech opponents, NC State and Wake, 2-0. NC State on the road at 2-0 Wake. Who you like tonight? It'll be interesting.
NC State. I think I like anybody who's playing against Wake this year. I just don't think Wake's in a great spot. They have, Damon Claiborne is a really good player, but you need more than that. And I guess you get these kind of games with NC State, and anytime NC State and North Carolina and Duke and Wake are involved, weird things happen on the field. It feels like this is a matchup where weird things happen quite a bit. I don't know. I just can't get there on it. I'm going to pick NC State on this because I think they're the better team.
All right, two more I got to ask you about. Clemson, Georgia Tech. It started out this unbelievable line because they weren't sure about Haynes King. They said he's good to go. Now it's down to 2.5. Georgia Tech underdogs at home.
I kind of like Georgia Tech in that game. Clemson has not impressed so far, and I feel like they go up against an offense that's a tricky offense. That's my team in this Tech Sideline NCAA league that we're doing. Me playing against a bunch of 20-somethings. Like, what could go wrong? Like, this is like literally the meme of Shawn Michaels booting Ric Flair in the face after apologizing to him.
I'm sorry. I love you.
I'm sorry, old man. Your time has passed. Yeah. But I like Georgia Tech. I like that offense. Haynes King is a competitor when he's healthy. He runs the heck out of the ball, and that's why he's always hurt. But you get him at home. Clemson's not exactly flying high right now. I think this is a good opportunity for the home team to spring an upset here.
And finally, I agree with you about Vegas. They're smarter than I'll ever desire to be at this stuff. But 17.5, number 18, South Florida at Miami. I watched South Florida against Florida. They were the better team. They had better players. Is Miami really going to win that game by 3 scores?
Whenever you ask me about Miami, I'm always skeptical. And, Miami's actually looked better out of the gates than I thought maybe they would have. I picked them to lose to Notre Dame. They didn't. They nearly blew that game at the end. One they should have handled comfortably. It feels like with Miami, I'm just always sort of waiting for it to go south.
Yeah.
Because it typically does at some point.
It does.
If you're giving me 17.5, I'm probably taking South Florida in that game.
Yeah.
Just because I think this is their Super Bowl. I mean, maybe it's back-to-back Super Bowls, and that's draining on them because they just beat Florida. But Boise State, Florida, and Miami to open the season, like they didn't back down from anybody here, and they look pretty good doing it. So I don't know if they win that game, but I like them to keep it closer than 17.5.
Well, and Till made a great point. With that schedule you mentioned, if they do get this one, they might as well go ahead and just make plans for the playoff, right? In the America, because they'll be 3-0 with 3 ranked wins like that. Woo! Wow,
yeah. Remember back in the day when Fresno State used to play everybody under the sun?
Yeah.
And they'd get up for those huge games, those non-conference games. They beat Wisconsin a couple times when Wisconsin was good, not Wisconsin as current state. I can say that as a Wisconsin grad, how underwhelming that team has been lately. But, those Pat Hill teams would go out and play just these monsters of non-conference. Yeah. They'd line them up 3 or 4, and they'd look really great. Then they get to their conference, and they wouldn't win. It's like there was a letdown going back to playing those type of games. So I'm always cautious about that. Like, okay, can you keep that intensity up once you get to the non-conference portion or to the conference portion of play? But Alex Golish is making himself a lot of money at South Florida. He might have actually just vaulted himself into the top spot for that Florida job. That'd be a nice, easy, you're just across the state. Would you like to move north a little bit and take over this program here? He's a guy who has SEC experience as a coordinator. So I know a lot of Virginia Tech fans have him on their list if this thing does go south here and Pry, doesn't make it to next year. But I think Golish might have played himself into a higher payday than this one.
100%. And your Vikings look good. Did JJ McCarthy come back
eventually? It was looking rough there for a while, and I'm sitting there
impressive.
I'm like, when does Christian Darrisaw come back? Is this the missing link on this team? And then I have to say that was a really enjoyable fourth quarter. Got some favorable calls. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sit here and
they did, but
head in the sand about what the officiating was like there. Yeah. But you also have to go out and make some plays, and they made some plays. And I think the bigger thing is I am encouraged by the fact that JJ McCarthy has some fire to him. and looks like he can make some plays. It was a guy making his first career start, and he's basically a rookie. He hasn't played preseason stuff. You worry about how he's going to handle himself. And when he scored that rushing touchdown at the end, and you saw the sideline getting behind him and the motion that he had, you saw the locker room afterwards. You're like, this locker room is behind this guy.
They 100%.
And if you have the locker room behind you, you have Justin Jefferson as a quarterback, Jordan Addison's coming back eventually, Christian Darrisaw protecting your blind side, and Kevin O'Connell is your coach.
Oh, yeah.
And oh man, if I'm a quarterback in the league, do I want Kevin O'Connell as my coach?
I know.
I think they're going to have some success this year, and it's always nice to beat the Bears.
Yeah, I was going to say, do that on the road against your big
how if you can do that against the Packers, oh, that'd be even sweeter. I hate the Packers so much.
You're the biggest Commanders fan outside of Washington tonight that has ever lived tonight.
Oh, are they playing this week?
Yeah, that's the third.
Yes, I am. I would like to see them beat the Packers.
You put on your Jaden Daniels jersey you go out and buy today. All right, well, listen, great stuff as always, man. We appreciate you, and have a great weekend. We'll be following you on Twitter. We'll see what unfolds on Saturday.
Should be interesting either way.
It will be. All right, thanks, brother. Have a great rest of the week.
All right, thanks.
All right, great stuff there from Andy Bitter. Hit us up on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line, or keep your texts coming in on our Professional Door BDST text line. See, Neil made that. We got to make the number a little smaller, though, because I can't really pull it. I do that. I'm doing, just got to go back here. It's okay. It's 0788. Does anything change if Virginia Tech wins big? No. In terms of job security, you mean, Wayne? No, I don't think this game, and Andy just said it, the next two games, and we said it after they lost, it doesn't change anything from that perspective. And let me address this. The Dwight Vick coming up at 8. You don't want to miss that. Call the neighbors, wake the kids. If you got to go do something, be back by 8. A lot of people, and I get a lot of it, most of it on the text line, about potential coaches. Look, there's not an opening at Virginia Tech. This show won't be a speculative thing about a scenario that's not realistic right now. So I don't spend time on here. Oh my goodness, I got all sorts of stuff going on. Hang on here. We got all sorts of weird stuff. There we go. My camera. Did you see my camera there? That was wild. Weird, wild stuff. Let me take this off for a second here. My Ethernet, I told you I didn't have it this morning. Let me see if this helps. That's what I did last. Let me know how that looks. When I went to bed last night, we didn't have any internet, so I didn't know if we were going to have a show today. So I got up, it was working, and I was like, yay. But I'm not going to come on and speculate about coaches. There's no job opening. And I don't root for people to lose their jobs. I'm not a shock host. I don't like those type of shows, and I appreciate the questions. And all of you may be right, and you're inevitable. Maybe that might end up being the result. But until that happens, I'm not going to come on and speculate about it. I do agree with and I did bring this up earlier in the week because people were talking about Alex Golish. He's not going to be in Blacksburg. He's going to end up a much higher paying job. He's coached himself into that. He's the real deal. And if he goes back-to-back weeks and beats his two big state nemesis in Florida and Miami, wow. I mean, who knows where that guy's going to end up. He's a heck of a coach and a recruiter. He's got people to come down there for their NIL that you never would have thought. They looked better, all 22 positions to me, than Florida. I watched a lot of that game, and that's why I'm so surprised to see this at a 17.5-point spread. That feels like the easiest. There we are. I believe we're back now. Are we back now? Is everybody with me? Can you see me now? I told you we were having issues overnight. So there we go. How do we feel about things now? Are we good? Everybody good? Let me know if we're good now. Sorry about that. But the good thing about it, when you lose things like that only took like 10 seconds. So that's why I love this whole StreamYard thing. I tried to warn you. I don't know what's going on here, but even hardwired in, it was something weird with the internet last night. So, okay, that wasn't too bad. It's nice to know that you can come back so quickly. That's good. You know what? I never thought I'd be saying this. A month in, I'm having much fewer technical issues with this than I did in radio. Right. Oh, thanks, Wayne, because I'd already forgotten. It feels like South Florida. If you endeavor in those type of ventures, South Florida being 17.5-point underdogs, I would have jumped on that on Monday if I were of the betting kind. I don't know how it's still sitting. Now, maybe there's an injury. I haven't researched this enough. Maybe they've lost somebody maybe the quarterback's hurt. I don't know. South Florida looks like the real deal. I watched them against Boise State. They just unbelievably, and I mean unbelievably, just dominated Boise State, who was in the top 25, and then they just manhandled Florida when they needed to defensively. They didn't score a lot of points, but boy, their defense was good. But yeah, I've had fewer technical issues a month in. This is our month anniversary here on 9/11, where we obviously I hope people's hearts and head are today with all the victims of that despicable attack on our nation. But I've had much fewer issues with this than I used to. Well, I mean, radio stuff, you rely on so much stuff. You rely on the tower. You rely on electricity hitting the tower. A lot of times the stuff would crash on the board. Everything, man. Here, I can control it. See, right there, we had the biggest issue I could have, losing connection. And I got back with, 10, 15 seconds? What was it, Wayne? 20 seconds most? Wes, that would be the president and the board of directors. Board of visitors. Board of directors. Well, it's the same thing. Wes is asking who is responsible for hiring and firing the AD. Wouldn't Tech have to hire a new AD first? Correct, Wes. Another reason I'm not speculating. 100% correct. It would be the board and the president and the administration. 15 seconds. All right, so 15 seconds, we lost connection. Whereas if this would have been a radio thing, it would have taken probably 10 minutes minimum. So that's good. Little trial by fire there. 15 seconds. I'll take it. So that's, Wes, that's how that will go, which is another reason I'm not going to speculate about coaches, because I believe you're right. The proper order would have to go the other way. That just seems to make sense to me. But who knows? You don't know the mindset over there other than what we can kind of read between the lines. And Andy said it twice because he hears things. He's over there constantly. If Armageddon, I said this to David Teal yesterday, if Armageddon happens, Saturday night and Old Dominion walks off that field and they've won the game. Folks, everything changes on Monday. I believe that 100%. I believe that 100%. That could happen. That would happen, actually. That it might all be cleared out. I mean, I'm just saying. And then, can you imagine the optics? It's probably a good thing that it's not on television when Wofford comes to town. Now, we're just speculating. I think Tech's going to win Saturday. But then again, I thought they were going to win the first two. And maybe I didn't really have a lot of confidence in my South Carolina pick, but I figured, what the heck? Everybody's going South Carolina. And they played well. It's 10-8 going into the fourth quarter. I wasn't as far off as I could have been. Really thought they were going to bounce back against Vandy, and I was wrong. Kind of like Arthur Fonzarelli in Happy Days. I was wrong. Don't mind being wrong on picks. Never have been. I'm not losing money, so I don't care. It'd be different if I was betting on these things, but I'm not. But I think they're going to win. I really do. I think they're going to beat Old Dominion. I could be wrong. VT Hokey Gal says I was delusional. Maybe so. Maybe so. Maybe I was delusional. Wouldn't be the first time I've been accused of being delusional. Not at all. But I do believe that changes the whole landscape if that happens. And the fact those discussions can happen and they're actually a possibility. All right, Hokey Bob, the quarterback, Chenault, is questionable. Okay. So in other words, USF is probably having a little gamesmanship. They list him as questionable, and then they're going to go out there and unleash him on Miami. And the spread's probably going to fall right before kickoff. That's why I don't get involved in all that stuff, man. It's just, if you got the means and you've got all this money and you want to have fun, that's great. But I'll tell you what, if you think you're going to get rich or make money wagering on sports, I don't know what to tell you. Good luck with that. Yeah, okay. Well, that's the only thing that makes sense. Thanks, Hokey Bob. Leave it to Hokey Bob. That's the only thing that makes sense because there's no way they're 17.5 points worse than Miami. I thought the Brown kid, though, right? He's really good. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. The running back from Miami is pretty good, too. What's his name? Fletcher? He's good. He's good. And really, obviously we have the local intrigue with Tech and Old Dominion, and people will follow William and Mary in Virginia. But really, there's only 3 games that are great. Clemson, Georgia Tech is fun. Pittsburgh, West Virginia. Come on, backyard brawl. You're going to pay attention to that. South Florida, Miami. That's it, other than the Tech game. Duke and Tulane's a close game, but you're not going to be glued to the TV on ESPN2. Maybe you will be. Minnesota and California. Thank God for those 2 additions, boy, because California and Stanford host games this week. BC has to travel to Stanford. BC let that one get away, boy, against Sparty. Double overtime. Bill O'Brien has done a good job there in a short amount of time. BC. I think BC, if they can keep O'Brien, is going to be a problem at some point. If they can get enough money raised there. That's right, Roanoke College. Going to Greensboro. We had Brian Steinspring on. Big road game for them. Pulling like heck for the Maroons. Man, just so happy for him. How do you not like Brian Steinspring? How can those kids not want to go out there and win for Brian Steinspring? Man, oh man. What, all you got to do is ask our next guest coming up at 8, Dwight Vick, what he thinks of Brian Steinspring. I mean, come on. That's why he went to Tech. He was a heck of a recruiter. I know a lot of times people didn't like the makeup of his offense, and I get it, But that guy, I love the whole story of him there at Roanoke College. I think it's great. Make sure you're here for Dwight Vick coming up. You don't want to miss that. You don't want to miss that. In our McClellan Chiropractic chat room, if Tech loses to ODU, that would definitely speed up the timeline. Yes, special meetings would happen. And it would probably happen on Sunday. That's how that works. They don't wait till Monday. That's how that works. But you won't see me until there's a reason to talk about it. I won't sit here and talk about it. I mean, like most of you probably, I like Brent Pry. I've never officially met Witt, so I don't have an opinion one way or the other. I don't want anybody's demise. That's why I don't like talking about it. I don't like it being this way. You don't like it. Virginia Tech football is what put this whole community in the NRV on the map. It's what made everything just kind of explode. And to see where it's gone, and what we're going on, 7, 8 years? Man, so nobody wants that. You don't want that. I don't want that. But it's going to be interesting if that happens, Flint West. I don't know why I called you Flint. West. It's going to be very interesting if that happens. It's going to change everything if there's a loss on Saturday. Of that, I have absolutely no question. We'll ask Dwight about it here in a little bit. But to Andy's point, the only way you can reflect on what happened in the second half on Saturday night is what he said. And that is, what that's telling you is that there's a much larger issue with what's going on over there inside those doors than what's happening on the football field. There's something wrong innately in a program at home that allows a road team to come in, and they're not used to going on the road and being that type of team and outscoring you 34-0 and making you look like you've never coached or played the game of football before if you were wearing the maroon jersey. I think they're wearing the all maroon again this Saturday. I don't like that look at all. You lost. Wear the white pant. Can somebody just give us a Virginia Tech uniform? Jeez. As much as you know, my whole diatribe being the uniform police, how much I hate just incorporating black just because. The whole monochrome look is worse in a lot of ways. Maybe not worse because it's at least school colors. Like the Broncos, my Broncos are wearing all orange on Sunday. It looks so bad. Why do you do that? Why is all monochrome a thing? Can't we just have traditional football looks anymore? Do you see what the Saints were wearing? And in NFL, they don't have any stripes on their pants. I think I'd feel different if they had stripes on their pants. They just wear these solid pants without any stripes. Tech did the same thing. Does it cost that much more money for these shoe companies to put stripes on the pants? Man. Right. Yeah, trying to sell us the cohesiveness and how tight the team is together doesn't sell right now. Let's see it. Don't talk about it. Let's see it. Didn't show up. That didn't look like that was the case Saturday night in the second half, especially late in the third and all the fourth quarter. There was no cohesiveness there. The only thing that was cohesive about the Virginia Tech program on Saturday night late in that game was that nobody wanted to play anymore. So that's not going to work. You got to show that. And unfortunately, winning the next 2 games doesn't necessarily show that. It's not going to do anything for anybody. Because Tech's 7.5-point favorites this week. They play Wofford next week. I don't know if there'll even be a point spread on that game. I'm still trying to figure out how that was ever derived upon, putting Wofford on the schedule. But I digress. We have Dwight coming up at 8. So I want to go through our sponsor list. Thanks to Family Fencing Studios. Check them out, 540-200-8294, familyfencingnrv.com. They build better fences. They don't dig and tear up your yard. By the way, we finally had all the exposed cords that have been laying out here in my yard and my neighbor's yard for the last 2.5 months. Finally got buried yesterday. I'm glad they got to that. Congratulations. Anyway, locally owned and operated financial options available, and you get a free quote. And Jason Green and company, terrific people. So go see them. McClellan Chiropractic, Mark Hundley. I'm going to put the GoPro on, go over and get popped. It's going to be a nice, what you call a video short, I've learned. It's called a video short. Professional Door Incorporated text line. See what Neil made me right there? Look, I'm going to have to make it a little smaller though, Neil. We got to move the 5 over. But 540-391-0788. Sponsor of our text line. They do garage doors better than anybody. Residential and commercial. Route 100 in Dublin. Right across from New River Community College. You know where it is. 38 years in business. Family owned and operated. Awesome. Very, very awesome. So we appreciate them. I don't know why I put Jermaine Farrell's name up there, but we love Jermaine. Well, you know why? Because of the 4th and Goal show tomorrow. That's why. Pulaski County Sports Entertainment, the presenting sponsor of this program. We got 2 cool-looking things here. Hang on. Boom. There's their new logo. Experience Pulaski County, Virginia. And then they have this one that they also made. Very impressive. Where I'm from, so take it fairly personal in a good way that they are our presenting sponsor. Check them out at playpulaskiva.org. And we're going to be talking more about the future Pulaski County Sportsplex, which is going to turn this area on its ear. You're going to have all sorts of folks wanting to come and be part of all of this. It's going to be great. National Bank, thanks to Lara Ramsey, member FDIC, exclusive banking partner of the program. And thanks to everybody each and every week. It's really taken off. It was all his idea, the attorney Ryan Pry. Having our fan question of the week. Go see him, 701 West Main Street. Give him a call, 838-2233, prylawoffice.com. And this week's question is easy and simple. It was, how many wins do you think Virginia Tech's going to end up with now that they've started 0-2? And most of you are around the 5 or 6 range. There are a couple people 7. You have 10 games left. There were a few 8s in there. There were a lot of lower numbers too. But and last and certainly not least, Little River Heating and Air, Charles Lee. I've rarely felt more confident endorsing someone than these folks. If you go see him and you hear us tell him you heard us talking about, I'm telling you, if you're around this area and you need help with your air units, you don't know which way to go, your heating units, terrific. They come out, they discuss it all with you. They try to help with your budget. They don't want to just, hey, you need to buy this for $17 million or you're not. They're very honest and they're terrific. So go see them. Go see them. Heavy day today, always, when this date comes around on the calendar of what happened here in this country 24 years ago, 9/11. the first responders, just the horrific scenes. Unfortunately, they'll be played by. I can't watch them anymore. I don't like to see it anymore, see the towers fall and to see all the destruction. Sometimes I'll watch just to remind us of where we were and how we all felt as a nation, feeling unity. And as I addressed in the open, and I have had people ask, yes, I did address what happened yesterday with the murder of Charlie Kirk out at the Utah Valley campus when he was just interacting with students, engaging. And where we are in this country, that you can't just have disagreements with people, and people think that's the solution. And there are media outlets of a certain type that are celebrating what happened, as his wife and children no longer have their husband and father, and we celebrate that. If you go back and watch the open of the show, and you can, that's what's great about YouTube, you'll get all my comments on that. It's sickening to see people celebrate over anyone. If you have if you're that type, then you're part of the problem. It's the only way I can say it. If you're actually going around and you think that is an apt way to respond, and I'm going to do this one more time because I think Pat McAfee said it best. And it pretty much sums up my whole stance on this. And I retweeted his tweet. It's X now, but I'm always going to call it Twitter. Charlie Kirk, a name synonymous with having the courage to speak what you believe and seek welcome conversations with those who you disagree with, which is what life's supposed to be about. He says, I'm not a political person, neither am I, but I am proud American citizen. Today was startling, saddening, and maddening all at the same time. I realized that I'm a bit naive to how crazy it all's become. Me too. You see it, but you're just shocked every time. But watching a man get hunted and slayed in broad daylight because of his opinions made me disgusted and devastated. Pat McAfee has very strong opinions. This can't be what we actually are or become as a country. Amen. I believe that the good people always outnumber the evil people. But he says today was alarming in our country's history. 2 kids lost a dad, a wife lost a husband, and societal discourse lost a voice. He sends his prayers to the family. I used to believe that. I used to believe that good was going to always win out, that the good nature of people was always going to be higher up on the hierarchy of this country and this world, but I don't believe that anymore. I don't have that anymore. I think evil is unfortunately starting to prevail to the kind of things we saw yesterday, to what we saw 24 years ago, to what you hear about what happened earlier in the subway, and the reactions of people actually cheering these kind of things on. That's I don't know where we are. But that's why we come back to sports, and that's why we come back to our outlets in life. All this stuff is real, but it's not anything like what happened yesterday or what happened 24 years ago. I had just started the show 2001, and that whole week after it happened, all we did was open up the show. People were just calling. We didn't talk about anything going on in sports. We didn't preview the Tech game. We didn't preview anything. We just had people talking about how they felt about this country and how proud they were of the United States and how proud they were of their citizenship, whatever it might be, and how we all needed to band together. If something like that happened today, I'm afraid I couldn't even do that. I don't think you could have enough people that would be on the same page to do that. And it's just 2.5 decades later. And that's a very sad state of where we are. But it's reality. Anybody tries to deny it, you're wrong. The discourse in this nation's at a point that I never thought that I'd see it. But it's there. And it's sad. It's disgusting what people have said in lieu of what happened yesterday. I can't believe there are people on television networks, radio networks that are praising this thing. People are just taking clips of people who are selling it. And if you feel that way, I mean, you're part of the problem. If you're celebrating that, shouldn't matter what somebody believes, shouldn't matter what somebody thinks about it if it disagrees with you. Maybe I'm just naive. That's right, VT Hokigal. He was going to be at Virginia Tech September 24th. He was coming to Blacksburg to have the same kind of open conversation. Never belittled anybody who disagreed with him. He wanted to have the conversation out in the open. It's what he was doing. That's what he did. And again, I never listened to his radio show. He says the world is a horrible place now. Yeah, it feels that way. The fact that that can happen, and I think there's the murderer is still at large. But as horrible as it is to see how certain outlets are handling this, I'm not surprised given the mainstream access media and what they've become. Enemies of our nation, they are. I just sit back and I just shake my head. I had to stop reading. I had to stop looking at it and listening to it. It's so disgusting. And none of those people should have jobs. I've seen dozens and dozens of people around universities in this country, people that are hired to teach our children who go to college, getting fired today because they made a post supporting what happened yesterday to Charlie Kirk. How did we get to this point? I can't imagine having that kind of reaction. Somebody who I may disagree with finding out they got murdered in cold blood. Because if I ever have that reaction, then I have failed as a human being. And I hope I never feel that way. But today is a day of remembrance, of respect, of honor for this country. And I hope people take that to heart when they see all the tributes and all the footage, the first responders, everyone who was fearless, true heroes who lost their lives, the innocent people who lost their lives, our country that was ravaged and attacked. And it happened again yesterday. But yeah, 24 years later, people are celebrating when something like that happens in this country. You tell me how we got here. But it is why we come back to sports, and it's why we can talk about things and we put things, hopefully we put it in the right perspective. Because I don't talk about politics. I don't get involved in that. I don't care what your politics are. I never have with anybody that I've dealt with in my life. I've never. And I give credit to my dad, my mom and dad. They treat people how you want to be treated. I know that sounds simple, but that's the way I've always tried to go about it. It sounds like a simple thing, but I don't know. I don't know how it's gotten to this point. I know people are being led to believe certain things, and maybe they just get stuff on their head. And if we didn't learn anything from the whole COVID thing, then we're never going to learn. Wow. But any event, Dwight Vick's going to join us, and we're going to talk about his thoughts after Saturday and looking ahead to ODU. Coming up. 15 seconds it took to get back on the air after we lost our connection. Because like I said last night, I didn't know. We didn't have it. Everything was kind of weird here last night. Power wise, it was kind of, I don't know. Sometimes that happens. And if that happens, if I'm never on in the morning, I'll put a post up on the Facebook page. But if you come here and I'm not on, it's because I don't have a means to be on. I think I can go live on my phone. Pretty sure I can do that. So at the very, very least, we'll have that. Please go watch, like, and subscribe. We're about 80 plus subscribers away from the 500 mark. That's what YouTube keeps telling me they want us to get to next. So let's get there. Tell people if you're at the game. I have a QR code up on the Facebook page. Just say, hey, it's easy. Go there and do it. Go there and just subscribe and do it. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. You don't get annoying anything on your phone other than a little 5-second, hey, the show is starting. Or they've just uploaded this on the channel. So whatever works for you. But please help us out in that regard. And thank you so much for everything that you've done so far. We're a month in, and got to be honest, I never thought we would get a month in. So thank you. Thanks, everybody. But August the 11th. Yeah, that's right. We launched on August the 11th. Crazy. And here we are doing our thing still. Waiting on Dwight. Apparently he's having some connection issues as well. See, it's not just here. So we're trying to see if he can connect. And we'll get his thoughts on everything. He's a calming voice. He's a direct voice. He's a realistic voice, you know. And, you know, I'm going to, once he's able to connect, I'm going to ask him, you know, he's dedicated his entire life to helping people. Like his entire life to helping people and to trying to understand the inner workings of his fellow man. And we might ask him a question about all this going forward. But when he jumps on, we'll make sure we get his thoughts on everything that's happening. But he is having some issues, so I hope that doesn't preclude him from getting on with us here. We'll keep you posted on all that. Hit us up in the McClellan Chiropractic chat room. Technology. Tech 7.5-point dogs, favorites. Old Dominion comes in as underdogs in this game, but so did Vanderbilt. And to Andy's point, I don't know whether you're going to the game and whatever it might be, but I'm going to be sitting there flipping back and forth because I'm going to be watching that Vanderbilt South Carolina game. That's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. All right, so Dwight's got everything going now, so he'll be with us here shortly. That's going to be a lot of fun. Diego Pavia, Lenore Sellers in South Carolina. Jen running around down there somewhere. That's going to be fun. I don't know whether she's going to have Holly with her or not. But that'll be a fun game. I think that's at 7:45 Saturday night, if I'm not mistaken. So the Tech game will be into the second quarter by then. So it's good stuff. Good stuff. But you want to make sure you pop on here and join us when Dwight gets here, because we'll get his thoughts, and he's had time now to have it resonate. I heard from him Saturday night several times, and we're talking, and he's talking to all these former players, and they just all and I get it, and I get it. All right, joining us now on the program. There he is, looking dapper as always. Good morning, DV. How are you, brother? Oh, wait a minute. We're not getting his audio. Is he not working here? We can't hear you. I don't know if it's on my. I think it's. Okay, I'm working on it. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes it takes a little while to get all this worked out. No, still not getting you. Let's see here. He's going to reconnect is what he's going to do. Give him time to reconnect here. But if former players are on the same page like him that kind of set the era, that's going to be voices that's going to be heard. And we're going to be in a certain level of urgency once that gets out, because I think that's something that'll be publicized too. You're gonna have people pick up on that and write about it and cover it, because those players built it and continued it and understood what it took for it to get to a certain level, and what they see now is not working. He's going to try to reconnect. Told you, everybody's having connection issues today. Given the day that it is, you wonder if something's happening. I wonder if it's anybody else having connection issues with their own stuff. You never know, right? But yeah. Dwight's going to try to jump back on with us here when he can. He's probably rebooting his system. I think that's what he said. But, hey, this is live programming. This is what's going to happen sometimes. All right. I'm just letting him know where we are, because he was asking exactly what it was. We had him on. You saw him, but we couldn't hear him. So he will jump on when he gets things sorted on his end. I did, Rodney. Thank you. I did figure out how to read my article on the Patriot. Mike Williams sent instructions. There he is. Is it working now? I still cannot hear him. I wonder why. I know. I got you. I can't hear you. Hey, for a second there, we had you. For just a second, we had you. Still not getting any audio. I don't understand that. Let me send you let me send you a new invite too. Let me send you a new invite. Let me do that and see if that works. All right, we're going to try to send him a new invite here. Yeah, we're getting him. We're just not getting audio. Hey, here we go. We're troubleshooting once again. Maybe it's the invite. I don't know. We're trying everything we can to have him join us today. He looks great. All right. Just send him a new invite here. But we can't get his audio to work. Let him know. Okay, just sent new invite. Okay. We're getting there, Tony. We're trying to figure it out. His camera looks great. He looks great. We're getting him on there. We just can't get his audio to work. And, sometimes your computer microphone is one of those things that's kind of finicky. So we'll see if we can get him here. Now, if we can get his mic working, maybe we could reschedule him for tomorrow. We'll see. We're not gonna give up yet, though. We'll send him a new link. Although the video part was working really well. I don't know what's happening. Yeah, that's what I thought. It's the microphone on the other end. Sign language, Tony says. Dwight and I trying to figure out sign language. All right, let's see now if we can have him on here. See if we can hear him.
Can you hear me?
Hey, there he is. What's up, brother?
Hey, I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on. I'm using a different phone, so
no.
I was gonna use my iPad, but I don't know anyway, man. I'm sorry. So I'm here.
No apologies necessary. Hey, we went off for 15 seconds. I didn't have internet here all night, and I was worried about the show. So don't worry. Hey, it's part of it. It's what happened.
Absolutely. Yes. Well, good morning, man.
Good morning. You look great as always. And all right, well, let's get into it. Let's just get into it. You and I were talking Saturday night. I know you're talking to a lot of former. What was your vibe? Though you were very calm. In terms of you were just like, you know what? And I guess because you may not have been shocked. What were some of your vibes about Saturday night?
I was disappointed, and I think the reason why I wasn't going off is because a lot of times and you and I have become friends. I enjoy being on your show.
Yeah.
I've been part of Virginia Tech since 1994. So being a player, being someone that wrote for 247 Sports, wrote columns for Rivals as well. I did the spring game broadcast for ESPN
Yes.
in 2013. I did the pregame radio show for a season, the year Virginia Tech beat Ohio State. So I've been around this program a long, long time, and
Absolutely.
I'm not dismissing the perspective of any longtime fans, but if you go back and you look at what I've been saying on your show, almost kind of predicting if this happens, this is going to be the response. I said that if Virginia Tech lost to South Carolina, that was a missed opportunity, and the fans and the program was going to be on edge. And I said you had to win that game because Coach Pride desperately needed a signature win. Virginia Tech post Beamer has only had a few signature wins, and you had a great showing against Clemson when Fuente was there. They took them on the brink to an upset. He came out and said in ACC championship, if they had scored that touchdown, they would have gone for two. I think they would have gotten it. But that wasn't a signature win. But they had a great win against Arkansas in the comeback win. So that was a signature win. Then Fuente had a great win against Florida State, which was ranked, and we never really realized how bad Florida State was that year. But it was at the time a great win down in Tallahassee in the night game. So you think about that win, and you think about the great showing against Clemson, and also a very good win against West Virginia to start the season in FedEx Field up here in my neck of the woods, right? So those are all great wins. So it almost gives you grace when if Tech had beaten 13th ranked North Carolina and lost to Vanderbilt, it would have given them grace. It would have given them permission to lose to Vanderbilt.
Good point.
Because it would have been like, well, you did beat South Carolina. You beat Shane, who some people wonder if he should have been contacted and hired. And you would have won on a national stage. Instead, and now I'm combining both the Fuente and Pry era. Instead, what I predicted as far as what happened is you lose both. And now, as I said when I was on your show when Fuente was there, you have a volcano erupting. You have longtime fans, media people who question if this is the right regime again. And it's unfortunate because I know Wick. I've been around him. I've talked to him. I don't really know if he's on the hot seat, but it's really a detriment to what's going on as far as the outlook on the program. Like, this is a house being built right now in a new neighborhood. Are we using the right kind of materials? Is this really going to work? Did we get the right contractors? Do we need to stop the building and get another person? Now, you look at you're on your third offensive line coach in 4 years, when neither one of them previous guys were recruiters. And now you look at your offensive line right now, when you have 8 of your 10 guys hurt or injured, that is a slap in the face to people like me who said you have to get O-linemen to win games at not just the Power 4 level, even if you're talking about Dinwiddie versus Blacksburg High School. You have to have offensive linemen. You look at the fact that, I don't like to really talk about money like a lot of fans do, but I'm going to just say this. You've had a great group of guests this week, Rick. A lot of great. You always do, right? Now, listen, I've listened to David Till, the GOAT, a Hall of Famer. I listened to Bill Roth, the GOAT, and they both give you perspective. Bill Roth talked about, you play another game. That's what you do. I agree. ODU is a great opportunity to get back on the winning track. However, when you talk about the despair and fatigue this fan base is feeling, the fatigue of here we go again. We're in a situation where it's really not that hard, right? To give effort, right? You talk about a lot of people who are living check to check or save some of their money to go to Blacksburg. You talk about coaches making 6 figures, some coaches making 4 million. And I get it now. I didn't always agree with when fans would bring up money and salary, but I understand it now because there's a lot of money involved, and you expect better comprehension and understanding of how to run the program. And I feel like what I saw Saturday night when they were up 10, I never felt safe and comfortable. And that's sad because I felt like Virginia Tech played a great first half, minus a few mistakes. And
Yeah.
they looked like they were going to win that game probably by 8, maybe 7 points. I didn't think Vanderbilt was a bad team, but they were definitely beatable, and they're well coached. And then you look at the adjustments made by Vanderbilt versus the lack of adjustments made by Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
Now, this is what people bring up money for, because I'm one of your many great guests you have on. If I came on your show and you were like, all right, we got Dwight Vick here to break down the Tech win or Tech loss or give us perspective about the nature of college football, the playoff, and if you had me on and I start talking about the Cheesecake Factory or which movie is the best movie to go see this summer, people are going to be like, why does Rick keep having Dwight Vick on? He's not making sense. I'm not really here to talk about anything else. We touch on other subjects. I'm here to break down and give you my perspective based on my credibility. That's my job.
Absolutely. 100%.
What is Virginia Tech's job as a player, the football program and as a coach? To win football games. You are paid to win football games, to build on the Beamer brand, to make Virginia Tech a national brand, a respectable one, and you're paid to make adjustments, to motivate and empower student athletes to be better men on and off the field. We have regressed. Now, I'm not ready to give up on the season, but I just hate the fact that what I warned everyone about is coming to fruition. And it saddens me because you look at Twitter, and that Twitter doesn't speak for everybody, but the memes, the breakdown, Boundary Corner had a great podcast the other night. They really broke it down, and every fan that called in or showed up on their page talked about the same thing I'm speaking on now. When I say it's not that hard, I'm saying that your job as a player and a coach right now is to win games. And Virginia Tech has not had, over the last handful of years, a very difficult schedule. But they've made it very difficult to watch them, and it's difficult to understand, what are y'all doing? That's the problem.
No, you're right. And the thing, too, coming from you talk about the credibility. You were there, you built it along with your former teammates and the people who came after, and you're talking to all these people. And to hear how disgruntled they all are, those are the voices to me that need to be heard. And I know that's going to happen sooner or later if this keeps going on. But I think that's something that tells me exactly, you know what it's supposed to look like. You lived it. You built it. You understand what was going on in all those meetings and the execution in the film room. And then the ones who came right after took it to a different level early. Those are the most credible people, in my opinion, yourself included, that can talk about this. And I think that when you talk about it and I hear you say these things, I start looking for them. You've taught me a lot, as a guy who thought he knew a lot about football. And I'm like, that's what Dwight was talking about right there. And it's not happening. It's not happening.
Yeah. Let me say this, just to your point, right? So when I was looking at, and I knew Vanderbilt was going to make adjustments, because that's what, again, I'm not trying to be funny, but that's what their coaches are paid to do.
Yeah.
To win games, right? Their coach was on the hot seat a few years ago. He brought in 30 new players. They beat Virginia Tech and Alabama last year, and also made the necessary changes. They went to a bowl game. They had a historical season at home and as overall, right? Now they're 2-0 and they're building it. I don't know what the rest of the season holds for them or Virginia Tech, but I will say, when I look at Virginia Tech in 2 games, offensive has been an issue since Beamer left. And even during the Beamer era, at times it came up. Like, can we please get an offensive coordinator like a Ricky Bustle or somebody that really can push this team to the next level? Because the defense has pretty much always been respectable, if not elite, and nationally ranked, right? When I look at Virginia Tech offensively in 2 games, the sample size we have seen no wildcat, wild turkey. And what I mean by the wildcat, wild turkey is when we had Bucky Hodges, who was a receiver hybrid tight end. They would sometimes put him at the quarterback because he played quarterback in high school, in goal line and red zone situations. He would
Mhm.
run and score. I don't know if people remember. He would even a few times pass the ball.
Yeah.
Prior to that, we had Greg Boone, the great athlete and tight end quarterback from Oscar Smith. They called it the Wild Turkey. This is when Steinspring was coaching.
Yeah.
They would put him in the red zone, or if we needed 4th and 1, they would put Boone at quarterback, and he would do the fake zone read RPO and run it for a first down. We have not seen anything innovative with the offense.
No.
You didn't go on 4th and 1. You have a great group of running
Oh.
backs. Put a running back at shotgun. Again, you're paid. I'm not advocating for someone to be fired. I'm saying this is what you're paid to do. I'm a licensed therapist. So when I see my clients today, I am paid to help them rehabilitate, to reform, to process difficult emotions, to help them deal with trauma and other issues like depression and anxiety. I'm not paid to teach them how to play Uno. Okay.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, where is the fight? Where is the innovation? Where is the creativity offensively? I'm not saying the offensive coordinator isn't good. What I'm saying is Virginia Tech has been in a must-win situation since Beamer retired. So what are you resting your laurels on? Who has the right to be complacent? Okay? This is not a situation where people are showing up, right? And now it's to the point we've fallen so far. People are now questioning whether or not the entrance is good. People are mad at Kirk Herbstreit for telling the truth. The
He
truth
told the
I've been
truth.
saying,
Right.
the
Yeah.
truth I've been saying before Kirk Herbstreit
Right.
said it.
Exactly.
So I'm just saying, like, I don't care. I don't care about Metallica coming to Southwest Virginia. I don't care. I'm not saying this is not a shot at Metallica, but we are too manufactured when it comes to hype and just results, meaning we're more about the show than the actual content and quality. And that is what makes a lot of former players upset. I don't think the kids are going out there not trying. I don't think the kids are like, well, I'm getting my NIL money. I got a nice car. I'm just more so saying at everything we do in life, from government to your job, whether you work at Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks, or you do jobs like you and I, you have to be held accountable. Accountability has to be at the forefront of your program. And you know what's funny about that statement? I've been saying that to you since Fuente got here.
Yeah.
That's why the parents, parents, students, everybody are fatigued.
Well, what you said is right on the head. The show became a byproduct of the content, your era, what Virginia Tech football represented. Then the show was able to build into something. Now the content's gone. There's nothing there but an empty slate, it feels like. But yet the show is still promoted as this thing that, hey, this, like you just said, to be here, wow, watch them jump. And then when the game starts, you look up, oh, another opponent's outscored the home team.
Well, again, I wouldn't care if they got rid of Enter Sandman. I mean, because to me, I've said this to, my guys at Sons of Saturday. I've said this to a lot of people. I've tweeted about it a few times. I don't care about the uniform reveal. I know kids do. I don't care if they wear polka dots if it means they're going to win. I don't
Right.
care. And I'm not this old guy that's stuck in my time. I love these uniforms. I love the energy. I love the entrance. But the entrance became iconic like the lunch pail because the results on the field were wins.
100%.
It was like the Avenger Endgame, whatever it takes. That's what it was, whatever it takes. A block punt, a return punt, a sack, a gamble. Again, we are not unloading everything we have in the playbook. We are not fighting, right? I'm not saying go out here this weekend and get a personal foul, but ODU is coming to bury you. They're going to take offense that you shorten the season, which again, that's a separate issue, but relative to the point where again, why would you even sign a series 17,000 years long?
Yeah.
Why do you need to play ODU that much? You know what I'm saying? So like, again, these are things that who are making these decisions? Why are the decisions being made? Like, I've often wondered, should they even pay me or guys like me as a consultant? Because I sit back in my living room, I'm like, why would you do that? Why would you go there? Why would you schedule that game? Why?
Right.
I remember when Beamer said, and he still owns this. I talked to Beamer, Coach Beamer, a few years ago at a Bud Foster fundraiser, and he still remembers, like, he remembers more of the mistakes and losses than he does the great success.
He does, yeah.
And he talks about that mistake he made when they played Boise on Labor Day and turned around and played JMU on that Saturday. So he played 2 games in 1 week, so to speak, right? And the point I'm getting at is, at least the team know, and I reminded Coach, he knows this, that they won 11 games that year and won the ACC, you know, back when ACC was a little bit more credible than it is now.
Right.
So again, man, Rick, it's just disappointing because right now, man, you got a great university. Southwest Virginia is a great region in our state. You got a great fan base that's been documented and seen and observed for years. You got a great student body. The area has grown tremendously since I was there. You got recruits that still want to come to Tech, 4 stars, 3 stars, and your product is disappointing to say the least. And that can't continue because there's kids that's going to decommit, I guarantee you, in the next few weeks.
Oh.
Because what are you going to sell them on besides I can give you some NIL money?
Right.
Like if you are in, I mean, respectfully, the only reason you might go to JMU, is because JMU is a great program now, arguably the best program in the state. So if Tennessee calls you, or even Vanderbilt or someone else calls you, and they can give you to match the money or give you a little bit more, why are you going to come? You know, you're not going to come for the entrance. And now what happens is when you're recruiting against Tech, you're going to say, well, I don't know if I would go there because that coach is on the hot seat. And here's the thing. My son, who was just recruited this summer, he dealt with that, where we kind of backed off on some schools because the coach was on the hot seat and eventually subsequently got fired.
It's going to permeate. And this is your opinion. I know you and I will be talking if it happens, but let's say Old Dominion walks off that field and they have more points than Tech. I can only imagine what Monday's going to look like in Blacksburg and around the program with, who you talk to all the time as well, the former player.
I've said this before, maybe I didn't, but I feel like I have because we talk a lot, even when I'm not on your show. I live in the Northern Virginia, D.C., Maryland area. I live in the DMV. I'm from Tidewater. I'm a Virginia guy until I die.
Right.
But I live in Northern Virginia, and I used to be a diehard Redskins fan.
Yeah.
I stopped being a Redskins fan when Snyder took over. His first year they won a division. After that, it became an S show, right?
Yeah.
So I backed off. I stopped going to FedEx, and for 20 years, it was a clown show. A few bright moments with RG3 and Kirk Cousins, a couple of playoff appearances, but they would oversign, overpay. You would see the stadium kind of filled with a lot of other opponent fan bases, just like what you see with the Carolina Panthers and other inferior or clown show NFL programs, right?
Yeah.
Same thing can happen at Tech. You lose the ODU. Oof. And there will be, oh my God, it will be absolutely tragic because the fan base will continue to support and show up to some degree, but you're probably going to lose the locker room. Guys are going to start making, the players will start making arrangements and trips, meaning they're going to start tapping into that portal, texting their boy that plays at, Tulsa or Miami or some other school and say, hey, man, tell the coach I'm available. It's just the way it is, man. Because I'm going to tell you right now, people may say, well, Vic, you were on some teams that had some tough experiences. What do I always talk about when I get on your show every summer as we preview the season? Leadership, and that was a different time. Meaning, what I see on the field right now, and I know a handful of those players on that team, I don't see a program that's mentally tough right now. Now, is J.C. Price mentally tough? Yes. Is Pearson Preload mentally tough? Yes. Is Aditi mentally tough? Yes. But they don't play anymore. And they're not the head guy. We saw when J.C. Price took over for Fuente with 2 games left to make a bowl, they almost upset Miami at Miami with a quarterback who should have been playing tight end.
Right.
A quarterback with a mullet out there throwing touchdown passes. And then the following week, they won against a decent, UVA team at UVA when many people did not think they were going to win that game.
No.
They won that game. And of course, then everybody jumped shit and they got blown out by Maryland. But the point is that JC got some fight out of them. What I wanted to see was some fight. And when Coach talks about the defense being tired, the truth of the matter is that they were tired not because of strength and conditioning. They were tired because they were on the field too long. The offense didn't do anything. So, yeah, we'll see, man, right?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. And, hopefully if we talk to each other Saturday night, we'll be saying, well, okay, that's what they needed. The first step happened and not another regression, because it's the Armageddon is how I'm wording it. It's what it would be like if that happens on Saturday night.
Yeah, a dream scenario would be, and a dream just to kind of stop the bleeding, would to win this game and beat Wofford, even though nobody cares about either one other than Tech fans and OU fans. You win those games, you're 2-2. So you got, and so you're 500 out of conference, and then you go into ACC play. You lose to ODU, which ODU, I mean, again, ODU's decent. They played Indiana tough. They've always been a fighting program, but even as bad as Tech is, they should win that game. Meaning Tech should win that game. You lose at home to ODU, now you give them 2 signature wins over you. And again, you become another program signature win. Purdue, ODU, and other teams like that. Like, how many signature wins do you want to keep giving other programs? And that was my issue with Fuente as well. So, as you can tell, man, I'm still calm, but I'm just kind of not over talking to you and
no.
I'm talking about the results on the field.
No, I get it. Well, brother, listen, thanks so much for joining us, man. Great takes as always. People hung around just to hear your take on the whole thing, and I'm sure we'll be talking on Saturday.
Yeah. Appreciate you as always, man.
All right, man. Have a great rest of the week. Take care of yourself.
You too. Yes, sir.
All right. That's the great Dwight Vick, man. Great stuff. Great stuff. All right. Thanks to everybody. We're a little over today, but we had to let Dwight get on and do his thing. Thanks to all of our great sponsors. Thanks to all of our guests today. Brian Seigla. Thanks to Andy Bitter and, of course, Dwight Vick. Tomorrow, the Finally Friday football edition, we'll have Will Stewart on, Mike Ashley, and then Jen and I will have our game picks coming up in week number 3, officially, of college football. Thank you very much for watching. Please go to our channel on YouTube and subscribe. Tell people to subscribe, like, and share all the videos. And it helps us out tremendously. And please take the time to pay honor today to those who had fallen 24 years ago as we remember the tragic attack on this country in 9/11. Thank you so much for the first month of this show. Today marks our month anniversary. Couldn't have done it without you. You're the reason I came back. And you're the reason that this thing's going to make it and take off, that it's going to work. So thank you so much. I mean that sincerely. And thanks for all the support. We'll see you tomorrow heading into the football week. Everybody take care. God bless. And we'll talk to you.